It's a championship that began with a bribe, or should we say, an incentive.
Give us a good report card and we'll get the truck.
Which led to a car, weekends at the track, tons of father-son bonding.
This out here, this RC racing has really made him come out of that little shell of socializing.
Austin Wright.
16-year-old Austin Wright is severely autistic. Just 6 months ago, he fell in love with remote control competitive racing.
At first, they kind of treated him, well, he's autistic, let's take it easy on him. And then when they seen that he was serious, they haven't. They treat him as an equal.
Donnie Wright is Austin's dad and his crew chief. He says focus and concentration have been weak points for Austin. Out here, he uses both to shine.
He's running in first.
He's led most of the point season in the Run What You Brung series. Veteran racer Scott Pierce is mentoring the teen.
I'm the mechanic, he's the driver.
Pierce says early on Austin had rage issues. If another car crashed his, he'd be ready to fight. Now he understands that's just part of it. Pierce says Austin's grown into a good sport and asks for tips and pointers.
I'll tell him straight up, hey, come on, tighten up, get to it. I know you can do better than that, let's go. And it clicks.
My dad told me at one time, one day he'll find his niche, and he's found it.
When he's not racing, Austin's a spotter. He flips cars when they crash, keeping his fellow drivers on track. Donnie says that sense of camaraderie and community has boosted Austin's self-esteem and confidence.
Win the championship.
Austin just won his series title, in his rookie season no less, a trophy that meant a lot to everyone. But it's the acceptance and friendships that endure for Dad.
If he breaks, they'll snatch it up and they'll run up into one of their trailers real quick and do what they got to do to get him back on track. And to me, that means everything.
Another wildfire is making its way through the woods of Santa Rosa County, and firefighters are using everything they've got. Bulldozers were out in full force. From the air, a forestry helicopter circled the trees, dumping 300 gallons of water with every pass. Jeffrey Powell can see it all from his front yard.
We took a couple videos of them flying over the house and stuff.
Firefighters say this road acts as a barrier between the brush fire and nearby homes. They're relying on their dozers and choppers to keep the flames from crossing it.
We do have bags to go if it does get to that point.
With many of yesterday's fires believed to be arson, many living nearby couldn't help but wonder if this was the firebug's latest work.
These woods, as far as I've ever known, have not just started up on their own. So, and there's a lot of moisture in this ground. This is a boggy area. So it seems like somebody's got to help it some way or another.
This is getting real close. I know. We have a lot of woods in Santa Rosa County. We don't need them burned down.
Whether this fire was intentionally started or not, it makes many edgy that an arsonist is still on the loose.
An ambulance leaving the apartment complex, with bystanders looking on as deputies collected evidence and tried to piece everything together.
We sitting at home, and everything's just cool, calm. My brother called, he's like, hey, he got shot.
Chandran Carter came running when she found out her cousin was shot. She says her cousin was walking around with her brother when shots were fired. She doesn't know why someone would hurt him.
My heart's just beating, because my cousin, he a real cool person. I wouldn't imagine somebody just up and shoot him. It just don't make sense to me.
Deputies are now looking for more than one shooter. We could see 2 guns on the ground and deputies marking evidence, including dozens of bullet casings scattered across the parking lot.
Just disbelief that it's happening out here. Just disbelief. It's ridiculous.
Terry Stewart and Myron Wilson started giving CPR to the victims. They say one was shot in the leg and lost a lot of blood. The other in far worse shape, shot in the head, chest, and stomach with a very weak pulse.
I got a little post back, so, I kept working on it, doing my job.
Mother Nature roared through northwest Florida, and she did not hold back. The rumble of thunder and pouring rain. To put it simply, the day was miserable.
At work, it was very rumbly, and we heard a lot of rain storms coming.
A dark sky loomed over the area. Flash flood warnings were in effect for most of the day. There was some relief Tuesday afternoon with only some light rain, but it started to pick up by the evening. A hard rain left some water on the roadways. As night fell on Tuesday, The wind also started to pick up.
We heading home, just gassed up just in case it get real bad, car have gas.
And then there was the spectacular lightning show. A reported 50,000 lightning strikes in just an hour. The rumbles felt through the area. Thousands lost power Tuesday morning.
Heard a lot of thunder rumbling, and of course our dog, who is scared to death of the storms, was shaking all over and hiding in the closet. So we knew it was going to be bad.
You might get a little uncomfortable watching this, but Mark Metrovich shows us he can drive with no hands, because sometimes he needs both of them to text.
I know this sounds cliche, but I always kind of think that I'm being really careful. You know, I'm not one that's going to get in an accident, you know, and thus far I haven't.
No matter how good he thinks he is at it, he may not be able to do it very much longer. Florida lawmakers are cracking down on distracted driving in hopes of creating safer roads. Many drivers think it's a good idea.
I personally feel like it's a sigh of relief because teenagers do text and drive, and more accidents happen with teenagers, and for this, they won't be able to do it.
The ban only affects cars on the go. That means drivers texting at red lights or stop signs get cut some slack. Texting and driving will also only be a secondary offense, which means drivers have to get pulled over for something else first, like speeding. So drivers like Mark Metrovich might soon have to pick up some better driving habits.
Not thrilled about that. That's kind of just one more thing I got to worry about, you know, as far as getting pulled over for.
Riding around in the water, Florida Fish and Wildlife keeps a watchful eye on fishermen. Their job is to make sure everyone is following the rules, especially when it comes to red snapper. The rule is 2 red snapper per person per day.
Looking for boats that have signs of being fishing, so people that have fishing poles on the boat, tackle, those sort of things.
We tagged along with FWC officer Matthew Cushing as he conducted these fisheries inspections. As he sees boats coming in, he'll sound the siren and then ask them to stop. Once he boards the boat, he checks all coolers for fish and also checks for fishing licenses. It's Florida law to allow FWC officers to do fisheries or boat inspections. If you refuse or catch more red snapper than allowed, you could face criminal charges.
Fish and Wildlife. If we weren't out here, I think people with the cost of fuel and tackle and boats, I think people would take just as much as their coolers would allow them to take.
The red snapper has to be at least 16 inches. This one is about 20 inches. So that gives you an idea of just how big red snapper can get.
18 inches.
Anyone who catches red snapper smaller than the minimum 16 inches has to throw it back in the water. These FWC inspections are something most fishermen are used to.
Some of them will come on and, board your boat and check, and some of them don't. It all depends, I guess, who it is and, what the situation looks like, I guess.
There's been much debate over the abundance of red snapper in the Gulf. The limits can be frustrating for fishermen, but rules are rules. Even the youngest have to obey them.
I love catching the fish, and so you can eat them, and then throwing back the ones that are too small, so you know that when they get big enough, someone else will eat them.
Janice Fernandez, Channel 3 News.
Going to the beach.
Came down here from Tennessee.
Okinawa, Japan.
Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Oh, I'm so excited. Can you really beat this? White sand, blue water.
It's going to be a great weekend here on Pensacola Beach.
4-day weekend, man. Got to take advantage of these days when you get them.
Woo! I love it.
Great kickoff of summer.
Our first time here, and we really have enjoyed it.
Take a selfie.
Yes. And on Instagram, hashtag like
This is it. Letting the kids have fun and we just come out here and finally have a chance to relax, and we just want to take advantage of it.
We love it. We're coming back.
Just living the dream out here. That's what it's all about. Just living the American dream.